Good morning, y'all. Taylor with y'all 106.7, broadcasting from the Red Wing Shoe Studio. And today we have a seasoned entertainer, Mr. Aron Jones, to talk about an Elvis Blue Christmas. I feel like I'm sitting with Elvis himself. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine this morning.
You drove in last night from Ohio, you said?
Yeah, Southern Ohio.
Yeah. So welcome to the cold weather. You brought it with you.
We was hoping to leave it.
So tell me, because you're not an impersonator.
We do the Elvis tribute show, but I mean, not to the extent of, where I would get out there and do the typical, like, the crazy stuff, I guess you could say. We try to put on an Elvis show that is as close to what his show would have been like in the 50s, or maybe even like 1961 when he did his last early performances.
And this is centered around his Christmas album, right?
Yep.
And this will be at the Texas Troubadour Theater Saturday, December 21st at 7 p.m. There is still time to get tickets, and we're going to be giving some tickets away. But I would love to hear more about the show. How long have you been doing this particular one?
Well, I've been doing an Elvis show since 2003. About 6-8 months or so after I got out of the Army, the Arab people talked me into it. And I started doing it because they tried to talk me into it when I was a kid growing up. They was like, get up and sing an Elvis song, like when I'd be at school and the talent show and stuff. They said, do an Elvis song. And I'm like, oh, I ain't doing an Elvis song. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't sing anything in front of nobody. I was like, I ain't getting in front of nobody singing. I'd sit at home and sing along with my record player, for hours and hours and hours on end, all day long, every day. But to get up in front of somebody, that wasn't happening. So finally, I went to see another tribute artist that came to the county fair in Chillicothe, and I had ran into him a couple years before that, and he remembered me when he seen me. And during the show, he kind of seen me in the crowd, and he just grabbed me and drug me up on stage, and right in the middle of one of the songs, he just threw a mic in front of me, and I'm like, he didn't know if I could sing or not, and there was like 350 people there, and I'm like, well, I better start singing or I'm going to look like a fool up here. So I started singing, they started streaming, and I thought, well, maybe I should be doing this.
And what song was that?
It was Teddy Bear. So it was one of his like 50s medleys that he was doing in the show, and did that and did Blue Suede Shoes, and everybody was going nuts over it. And I was like, maybe I should go ahead and put a band together,
And so the rest is history. You started doing it from then on out. Well, we were talking about it before we started, your similarities with Elvis. You were in the Army, middle name after Elvis. Your dad was a huge Elvis fan. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like your parents knew this is what you were going to do long before you did.
Well, I don't know. I know that they told me first day they brought me home from the hospital, first thing Dad did was, I guess he celebrated me coming home for the first time by putting the Elvis Golden Records album on the record player, and first song on it's Hound Dog. Yeah. Well, as far as I can remember, that's the very first song I ever learned of any type. I always said that I could probably sing that song when I was a kid before I could talk full sentences. And I don't know. I always loved Elvis's music. I love all the 50s music, though. That's what I grew up on because my dad was a teenager in the 50s. So, that's what I grew up listening to.
Well, you got the comb over going great. Your hair looks nice.
Yeah, it's been like that for a long time. So, yeah, when I was in high school and everything. So
you've always had that Elvis look, yeah?
Pretty much, yeah.
I love it. Now, what is the best way to keep up with you guys, Aron Jones and the Kool Cats? Do you have a website, social media?
We have a Facebook fan page that we post on regularly, and then I have my actual personal Facebook page that a lot of people go to it because it's just easier to find, and then I just direct them to the band page also. So if you can't see something on the one, you can always see it on the other. That's usually the best place to kind of keep up with us.
And this is all ages, family friendly, this show. What's your favorite part of the show without telling us too much?
The history part of it. Everybody can sit at home and listen to the Elvis records and listen to the songs, but a lot of them don't know the history behind the music or why Elvis was as important and such a big deal when he came out, why everybody made such a big deal about him, and why he was so different than everybody else, and why they still make a big deal about him today. Yeah. So I try to give people a little idea of what it was all about.
He was one of the greats. We had T. Graham Brown in here, and he said he met Elvis in like the back of an alley when he was a teenager, and went back to Elvis's place, and he made him the PB and banana sandwich. And so we just hear great stories about Elvis, and asked him, "Is Elvis ever give you any advice?" And he said not to have an ego. So if Elvis Presley doesn't have an ego, then none of us should. But he just sounds like he was incredible. So we'd love to hear you guys play something. What are you going to play for us today?
Well, it's a Christmas show, so let's do a Christmas song. And I think everybody wants to hear probably Blue Christmas.